Good morning, everyone. I am Famous Harrison. I'm the Dean of the Stockton Campus of Stan State. So this is an exciting day. So I want to say thank you for all of those that are joining us physically as well as virtually. Today, you're going to learn a lot about the institution and also the commitments the commitments we have here in Stockton and San Joaquin County, as well as all of the progress that we have made thus far. Before I introduce our fearless leader, I want to read a brief quote that I want all of you guys to think about and how this radiates in your life, family member, community member. This is one of my favorite quotes, period. It says, "This work is challenging, but worth it. Delivering on this mission has the potential to impact communities across generation." Stan State is the public university for this region, for this community. We are committed to serving students, faculty, staff, alumni, and all community stakeholders. I am excited to introduce our leader, President Dr. Ellen Jun, to the podium. Briefly, I would like to say that when you talk about leadership, it's one to really, talk leadership in the sense of hearing what people say. But leadership is about what you do. I will honestly say that the last 6 years being here, it's been really exciting working with Ellen. Ellen is so committed to Stan State, to serving the whole region, to student success, the community success. She is invested in Stockton, she's invested in Stan State, and she's invested in the community. So now let's the show begin. I would like to introduce Dr. Ellen Jun.
Thank you, Dean Harrison, and good morning, everyone. It's so exciting to be celebrating this beautiful day in our outdoor pavilion here in the Stockton campus. As we begin, we typically respectfully acknowledge that Stanislaus State is located on the traditional lands of the Yokuts Nation. Our campus is built on the unceded ancestral lands of these indigenous tribes. So thank you for allowing us to honor the Yokuts and to give our gratitude to their ancestors and descendants for their careful and constant stewardship of this land. On behalf of the university, it is my great honor and privilege and pleasure to welcome you to today's forum at our Stockton campus in this dynamic city of Stockton. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge some very special guests joining us today in person and on Zoom. Brianna Gonzalez, who is here on behalf of Representative Josh Harder, Joel Reina, representing State Senator Susan Talamantes Eggman, San Joaquin Delta College Acting Superintendent and President, Dr. Lisa Aguilera Lawrenson, Granil Bopati, who is here on behalf of State Assembly Member Carlos Villapueda, Jessica Rocha, Legislative Assistant for State Assembly Member Carlos Villapueda, and Betty Wilson, Executive Director, Business Council of San Joaquin County. So thank you for all being here. Today, we are thrilled by this opportunity to share with you a glimpse of the very exciting plans in store for the Stockton campus. Since 1974, when Stanislaus State first established our Stockton facilities, more than 10,000 students have passed through the halls of our Stockton facilities. The growth of our Stockton campus enrollment is a result of our commitment to expanding educational access and opportunities to students in Stockton and San Joaquin County. Now, why is Stockton so important to us? Did you know that Stan State is the only public undergraduate and graduate degree institution in this growing and very diverse city? Of how many? Of more than 315,904 residents. Did you know that Stockton is the 13th largest city in California and the 62nd largest city in the United States? These are important reasons why we care so much about our Stockton campus. We know that our plans for the Stanislaus State Stockton Center supports access to programs that drive ever-increasing levels of college degree achievement, professional opportunities, and overall economic growth for the proud city of Stockton, the region, and our entire San Joaquin Valley. Consequently, when I arrived at Stan State, I knew that we needed to develop an intentional, incremental strategy to focus on and launch a comprehensive plan to support and build and grow our vital and vibrant Stockton campus, which would be challenging without additional funding. Since then, I am pleased and very delighted to report that we are now receiving unprecedented support and funding from whom? Governor Newsom, the legislature, and the CSU Chancellor's Office. Just as a quick example, we have received $54 million to expand and renovate our existing facilities and buildings, as well as $1 million in annual new baseline funding to increase our student enrollment at Stockton, in addition to $7 million plus from the CSU Chancellor's Office that is to renovate our Magnolia Mansion and to launch our new formal Stockton campus master planning process together with our Stockton community partners and our Turlock campus. In short, our commitment to Stockton, San Joaquin County, and the Central Valley is unwavering. We are excited to embark on this next chapter of expanded investment and educational opportunities here in Stockton. Now, as a preview for this open forum today, this morning, you will hear from several individuals who provide brief updates on key issues. For example, you'll hear an update in areas such as enrollment management and planning from our Vice President for Strategic Planning, Enrollment Management, and Innovation, Dr. Gitanjali Kaul. She will update you on our what we call our Warriors on Our Way, or our WOW program, which is helping hundreds of San Joaquin Delta College students make the transition to Stan State to complete their bachelor's degrees or graduate degrees after transferring. We are indebted to Delta College, who is here today and doing an outstanding job in supporting our students, and we're very happy to partner with Delta. You'll also hear important and exciting news about our plans to expand degree offerings to meet the region's workforce needs and demands from Provost and Vice President Dr. Rich Ogle. In addition, Dr. Anicia Mayer, Executive Director of our newly established Community Equity Research Center, known as CERC, will provide updates about this exciting new center, where faculty and fellows are already working with the community on compelling research initiatives to support students and residents in Stockton. Our Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Christine Erickson, will update you about all of the exciting student services that have actually been increased here on our Stockton campus. And very importantly, you'll also hear from ASI Incorporated Director for the Stockton campus, student Angelina Jasmine Narcisco, about how ASI and our University Student Center Board have risen to the challenge of providing more support and activities for our Stockton students. AVP for Capital Planning and Facilities Management, Julia Reynoso, will provide a brief update about all of the new construction and renovation that will be possible with our new state funding, along with an update on a more robust Office of Information Technology Infrastructure to help support learning at Stockton from Deputy Chief Information Officer Jeffrey Sterilio. And finally, you will get to hear personal testimonials from 3 of our students about their experiences here at the Stockton campus. In the coming months, there will be many opportunities for everyone, from community members and grassroots organizations to students, faculty, staff, alumni, and friends of the university to engage in the university's official Stockton campus master planning process. Now, this is a formal, collaborative, facilitated process that involves all of our Stockton stakeholders, as well as our main campus, as we envision, discuss, and chart the promising future for our Stockton campus. We will be inviting you to participate, and we want to hear from you. Your voice and input are essential, and we hope that you'll join us as we embark on this journey. In sum, this is an exciting day to report out to you on the progress thus far. We are deeply appreciative to the governor, to the legislature, and the chancellor's office for their support. And we're indebted to all of our partners, our elected officials, community members, and organizations who will continue to work together to address issues as we move forward to realizing a brighter and auspicious future for our Stan State campus. With that, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our next two speakers, the Honorable former Senator Patrick Johnston, who has been an incredibly long-standing, stalwart, continuing advocate of our campus here in Stockton, as well as our ASI Director for the Stockton Campus, Angelina Jasmine Narcisco, and she will be speaking on behalf of our student body. First, we give our warmest welcome to you, Senator Johnston.
Today marks a new beginning in the state of California's commitment to provide a 4-year public university education here in Stockton. In the 1970s, Stanislaus State began evening classes in the empty offices of the downtown state building. And it was cramped, but it was a start. And then in the 1980s, Stanislaus State moved classes to the Delta campus, a great partnership, Delta and Stanislaus State. In the long run, both needed expansion, and so it was necessary to look for a permanent home for the Stockton campus of Stanislaus State. In the late 1990s, the state of California decided to close Stockton Developmental Center, where we are today, originally called the California Insane Asylum. In any event, that process that took place in the late 90s resulted in the California State University System, CSU, and the city of Stockton, with the mayor and the city council then and all the way to the present and continuing, forming a partnership that resulted in the creation of University Park, with the management by Groupie Commercial, now Groupie Huber, taking care of this 102 beautiful acre campus. And so the next 2 decades, though, after that formation, with the leadership first of Stanislaus State President Marveline Hughes, who committed and worked at establishing this campus. But the next 2 decades, there were fits and starts as the campus sought to add programming, students, curriculum, faculty, and facilities. And then came President Ellen Chun. And with her team, there's been an unrelenting commitment to do what was promised in many, many planning reports. These are just the ones done by the state. And all of those saw this campus going to scale, a scale that would accommodate the public college needs of this community. And so with President Chun working with her team and with many in the community of Stockton and with the Groupie Company and with the site authority that's a joint powers agreement to manage this property, there has been substantial change and movement. And we have our own legislators, Susan Eggman and Carlos Villaputua, to thank for championing the kind of funding that Ellen just spoke to that will help us move forward. And so as we stand here today, we look forward to an enhanced future and growth of this campus. And we know that in the future, there will be many more warriors on the way. Wow.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angelina Narciso, and I am here to speak to you on behalf of ASI. The ASI and SC organization has a dedicated team of student assistants and staff who work hard to provide a fun and memorable experience for students through event programming and giveaways. In addition to the new Warriors Activity Center, it serves both as a workspace for this team, as well as a hub for student services, including copy and printing and laptop rentals. As the ASI Board of Director for the Stockton campus, I've been involved in a lot of conversations with faculty, staff, and administrators. They're always so open to hearing feedback and concerns from students. For example, two concerns that have recently been addressed were the lack of in-person services from the psychological and counseling services department and the lack of food options on campus. These concerns have already been addressed in these conversations and are in the process of being attained in the near future. I am very proud to be part of the Stockton campus. It is filled with a dedicated and devoted team who works hard to improve their services and facilities based on the needs of students. I am very excited to see what the CSU Stanislaus Stockton campus has in store in the future. Thank you. Please allow me to introduce the next speaker, Gitanjali Kaul.
Good morning, everyone. I am Gitanjali Kaul. I am the VP for Strategic Planning, Enrollment Management, and Innovation. And I'm delighted to be here today to talk about some of the outreach services that we provide in the San Joaquin region in general, and specifically at Delta as well. So I'll jump right in. The work that we do in providing a lot of this outreach really is sort of focused on reaching out to students, to parents, to educate them about the careers that can be possible through programs, through our majors, if we can get their students to enroll. And most importantly, we talk about financial aid. So people are prepared, students and parents know how to find their way to Stan State. One of the first programs that I want to talk about is the WOW program. It's already been mentioned a couple of times, Warriors on the Way. It is one of our most important programs, a signature program. And I say that because it sort of forms the bedrock of our relationship with Delta College. We work in many specific ways to help students at Delta transfer to us. So if a student at Delta who is pursuing, let's say, an ADT degree or some courses there, comes in and says they intend to transfer to Stan State, we begin working with them early on. Even though there's no dual enrollment relationship, we start working with them early on to help them be advised so that they are qualified when they are ready. They have access to degree programs that they can complete here, particularly at the Stockton Center. And they have a guaranteed sequence of courses in their programs of choice. So that these are some of the reasons why the WOW program is important and a signature program for us. It's also a signature program because it started as a small idea way back in 2018. I can visualize President John and the president at Delta College signing this MOU at that time. And we got started out with support from a College Futures grant. We had about $900,000 to begin this program. It was good to have an outside agency come in and endorse the work that we were doing. But since then, this program has become base funded. So the staff in the program that are now housed at Delta College, our admissions counselors, are permanent. They have permanent space at Delta to conduct their work. And the program is here to stay. It's been doing really well. Our staff there work with Delta faculty and other administrators to offer workshops. For students that have said they intend to transfer, we waive their application fee, just the small perks that help students feel comfortable. Most important, the programs that are offered for completion through this WOW program are programs in business, in liberal studies, psychology, criminal justice, social sciences, health sciences. And these programs weren't just picked out of a hat. We picked these programs because that is where Delta students want to transfer. Those are the programs of choice of the Delta students from the past. So we built upon their interest there. This program also has peer mentors that are housed in our Office of Student Affairs and additional advisors on our Turlock campus. So just real quickly, some of the highlights of this program. Since its inception, there have been about 538 WOW students. 204 of them have actually transferred to Stan State, many of them right here to the Stockton campus. 25 of those have graduated. 54 have applied for spring 2022 graduation. And all of that means that about 80% of those that started out early on in the early cohorts are finding ways to complete a degree. So excited to share this information with you. It's been delightful to watch this program go. We also collaborate with the deans and staff and faculty on both campuses to make sure our roadmaps are accurate, the degree mappers are working, that curriculum is aligned, and that students have the right advising. And we have many other interesting things planned for this program. So stay tuned, there's more to come. Next slide, please. So that was the WOW program. Now, just a few words on our other educational partnerships in the P20 pipeline in the San Joaquin region. So listed there, there's a big bubble and lots of little bubbles, and each of these big bubbles represent an institute and activity that we're involved with. One of the first ones is the PK Institute. I don't know if people in the audience know about that. That stands for Parent Institute for Quality Education. There's this a statewide organization, and we work with its local chapter here that helps parents who are not primarily English speakers learn about opportunities for their children. So we work very closely with them, and I've actually enjoyed going to their graduation ceremonies and so on, and have a good partnership with them. Another one that I want to mention is the San Joaquin County Office of Education and Migrant Education in Region 23. And the reason I mentioned that one is we were successful in starting a program where we brought in 6th to 9th grade students into a 2-day residential camp, non-residential camp. So the students didn't stay there, but came to us and spent the day. The most exciting thing about that camp was these students got to be warrior for a day. So they went through our library, they went through our student center, they got to meet faculty, they got a taste of what it means to be a warrior. And that was really exciting. Let's see, I spoke about Delta College. Super Sundays, we offer Super Sundays in the month of February, and I'm looking at President John and Dr. Harrison and the members of the cabinet. We all show up for these Super Sundays along with my Office of Admissions and Outreach. And we have a table there, and we help educate parents and hand out packets, admissions packets to these parents to help them understand CSU requirements and so on and so forth. And that has been fun to do. The 2 churches that we have gone to are Victory in Praise and Progressive Community Church here in Stockton. Next slide, please. I have a lot of information to share, so I'm just going to let you look at those slides for a while. We have 158 middle school and elementary schools that we reach out to, and then we have about 38 high schools, and they are all listed over there on the slide. There's just a couple I want to mention: Edison High School, Franklin High School, Health Careers Academy, Stockton Unified Early College Academy, and a few others with whom we have really strong partnerships and are able to attract a lot of students that come to us. So with that, I'll be around after the meeting in case anybody has any questions, but I am now ready to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Christine Erickson, my colleague, VP for Student Affairs.
Good morning. Thank you, Gitanjali. I am happy to provide a quick update on some programs and services with some pictures so that you can see some of the progress that we've made here. So first, before the pandemic, we actually got to have a career fair here. So you can see the check-in table and the tabling that happened in the quad. And then on the next slide, you will see that shortly before the pandemic, Campus Recreation actually completed renovation and installation of equipment in 3 campus recreation spaces. So there's now a weight room, a cardio room, and a group exercise room. We're excited for students to finally be able to use them, hopefully in the fall. And the next slide, you'll see an updated courtyard, which is actually where we are right now. During the pandemic, the Student Center Board of Directors and staff, in addition to our facilities and Stockton campus partners, created a Campus Pride mural to liven up one of the courtyards. And you can't see it, but it's actually right behind us. They also renovated some student lounge spaces. So in the next slide, you'll see a kitchen space in Lounge A, they're not named yet, for students. And in the next slide, a Campus Pride wall graphic and seating with tables in addition to soft seating. In the next slide, you'll see that Lounge B has movable furniture that can be reconfigured for various meetings or events for our student groups. In the next slide, you will see one of our pop-up food pantry events. We held these pre-pandemic and we've continued them throughout the pandemic as we continue to work on eliminating our students' food insecurity. And in the next slide, you'll see the drawings for the permanent pantry that we're very excited about here in the Acacia building. And in the next slide, you'll see the permanent pantry in progress. It was very exciting to have our refrigerator and freezer delivered not too long ago, and we anticipate opening the pantry a little bit later this semester. Well, that was a whirlwind tour of some of the improvements we've made recently, and it's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Anicia Mayer, Executive Director of the Community Equity and Research Center.
Thank you, Christine. It's a pleasure to be here. Today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Community Equity Research Center. Our center is located here on the Stockton campus and will eventually be housed in the historic Magnolia Mansion. Our mission in the center is to partner with you, our local community, to research and develop creative, inclusive solutions to issues that concern the community, especially issues related to structural inequities and racial inequality. We envision our center as becoming a community problem-solving hub for the San Joaquin County. And we believe that to address the root cause of inequitable outcomes, we must define and develop robust understandings of how individuals and systems create problems that we see in our current context. Our mission is to engage community members experiencing the effects of systemic racism to collectively own and share responsibility for both designing, conducting, and reporting on research that uncovers the causes and impacts of the problems related to racism, and most importantly, to take action. At CERC, we begin this work by seeking to partner with the community, as we believe that those who experience inequities firsthand are the experts, whose views are really central to understanding the problems related to racism and the solution and part of the action. At CERC, we want to support the work of community co-researchers and faculty to expand our knowledge about ongoing racial inequities that impact our community, and by developing solutions that support equity and inclusion. Next slide, please. So on this slide, you'll see faculty and students who, as President John mentioned, are currently working with the local community in Stockton. We have 2 scholars, Dr. Mei Ying Lee and Ku He, who are working with the local Hmong community. We have Doctors Rofe and Grave, who are working with local schools to address issues related to financial aid and other barriers that first-generation students encounter as they transition from high school to college. And we have Naui Gonzalez Milan, who is an amazing undergraduate student who has developed a program to support undocumented students as they transition to college, and is now implementing a peer mentoring program to help support these students. And one of the schools she's working with is here in Stockton. As you can see, we want to welcome and encourage your participation in CERC, and I hope that you'll connect with me. And we have one of our other faculty scholars here, Dr. Stephen Druin, and we'd be happy to tell you how you can partner and how you can get involved with this exciting project. Thank you. And now I want to introduce Dr. Rich Ogle, Provost and Vice President.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to echo a word that we've heard a number of times here this morning, and that is wow. Wow that there are so many individuals in this audience to share with us. Wow that there are so many individuals out in Zoom land who are here to be a part of this. And as you have heard, WOW stands for Warriors on the Way. I'm going to use my time to riff on that a little bit and help us understand that it means a few other things as well. And so what I'd like my remarks to be about is wonderful opportunities working. And on behalf of the colleagues that I have in academic affairs, my honor and privilege to represent them in these remarks, I want to talk about some of the things that we have been doing over the course of this academic year in order to instantiate our values in the context of Stockton and San Joaquin. And so I am relatively new here. I am 9 months in, and I say that to provide some context. The context is that one of the most compelling opportunities that led me to accept the position of Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs is the opportunity to make a difference in Stockton. There are so many wonderful things about who we are as an institution at Stanislaus State, but when I was going through my process of thinking about if this was an opportunity that I could contribute to, I saw a number of things. I saw the team that President John was putting together. I saw the support from the university, the legislature, the governor, and the community. And I said to myself, this is a place where I want to be. This is a place where I want to make a difference as a first-generation college student who is a native Californian. And so I feel very honored to be here. And so let me just go through and talk a little bit about how academic affairs is approaching all of the wonderful energy that people have talked about. The funding, the leadership, the re-engagement in the community post-COVID. And so if you look at my first slide, I want to really focus less on what it actually says and more on what it communicates. And what it communicates is that this year, as we come out of post-COVID and we've received additional funding, what we have done in academic affairs is a very intentional, very thoughtful, and very committed strategic visioning about how we take our next steps now that we're in the new normal. This is a process that has been done in conjunction with my cabinet colleagues, the president, faculty, staff, students, to where we have engaged in a process of saying, what is next for Stockton? Through brainstorming, through working with our consultants to do market analysis, by re-engaging with community members, by asking our deans, who are the shepherds of the academic programs, to think, what can we do? What can we do to move the needle? What can we do to take the next step? This is a process that has gone on since the beginning of the academic year and my arrival. It will continue to go on. We are engaging stakeholders, and we will be rolling out a number of initiatives that are going along with everything that you've heard so far to improve where we're at and to dream and to think about where we're going. And so at this point, I can share with you a few things. We believe, based on this exercise, that there are two important approaches to think about in terms of again, instantiating our values at the Stockton campus. And that is by strengthening the programs that are already going well and strong. And we're doing that through hiring new faculty who will contribute to the programs that are ongoing, but also allow us to expand them, to expand access for students here in Stockton to be a part of those already strong programs. And so I probably didn't ask you to go to the next slide. So let me ask you to go to the next slide so that you can see what I'm talking about. And so you see here the places that we are expanding in the programs that we already offer. These are already strong programs that for years have been providing opportunities for the students of Stockton. We are committed to expanding those and growing those so that we can provide access to more and more people. Let me go to the next slide and talk to you a little bit about the other approach and parallel track that we are working on, and that is to focus on our future possibilities. We have many future possibilities ahead of us, not just because of the situation of the community of Stockton, but importantly, the situation we find ourselves in higher education. One of the things about the COVID pandemic that has allowed many institutions of higher education to learn is that we now have a much more sophisticated set of tools to provide access, to engage students, and put up programs that broaden our ability to have an impact on this community. And so whether those programs are graduate programs or undergraduate programs, whether those programs reach out to different learner types. There's a term going around in higher education now that we use called the adult learner, the individual who has a degree and is working a job and probably has a family, but is interested in expanding their opportunities. And so moving into the adult learner space where we could provide options for individuals who've already had the opportunity to receive a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree, to reach out and find opportunities for them. This is related to and feathers into the idea of we now have a much more sophisticated set. We've become experts at different modalities of reaching students, whether that is traditional face-to-face to provide very intense hands-on experiences, whether it's online, whether it's hybrid, whether those online programs that are accelerated so that you get done faster. There are so many opportunities for us to explore, and with the funding that we are receiving and the energy behind the leadership of Stan State and the leaders of this community, we have the opportunity to do things that people have not thought about before to really improve this community. And so my next slide, please. Okay, so specifically in terms of content, we have worked with community partners. We have also worked with consultants who do market analyses. And what we find is something that probably isn't a surprise to anybody, that the lowest hanging fruit and the opportunities that we have to make the most significant impact are in these areas, expanding our programs in the area of business, expanding our programs in the area of healthcare, expanding our programs in the area of education. And something that I'm personally excited about because I have a background in this, and we have a very wonderful interim dean of University Extended Education and International Education who has a background in this, is to move beyond the idea of educating students just in terms of degrees, but how do we engage in the community to provide certificates, to provide professional education, to provide continuing education that again allows us to build up and strengthen this community. And so this is something very important to me as provost that I would like to see us move very significantly in this direction to provide these opportunities. And so there is so much to look forward to in that area. And we have the skill set to do it. We have the skill sets to do it. Next slide, please. And so what I'd like to end with is that all of this effort and all of the things that we are putting in place has been a very intentional, very thoughtful, and very committed exercise to engage students, faculty, staff, the community, to develop a shared vision for what academic affairs can be to the Stockton campus, the community of Stockton and San Joaquin County. And that is for us to continue on the journey of being the intellectual and creative hub for this region, and to prepare students, whether they are 18 or 80, for career-ready credentials, degrees, certificates, so that they can be ongoing and future leaders for this wonderful community. And with that, I thank you, and I have the pleasure of introducing Julia Reynoso, who is our Associate Vice President for Capital Planning and Facilities. Thank you, everybody.
Good morning. Still good morning. A few more minutes. Thank you for having me here today. I'm super excited to be here and talk to you about the Stan State future in terms of capital planning at Stockton and capital projects. We're super excited. I've been doing planning work at Stan State for about 20 years, close to my son's age. And we've been planning and requesting funds, just as Patrick showed the binders. I have just as many binders in my office on proposals on how to expand education here at Stockton site and how to improve the facilities. So I'm super excited that we received all this funding to do some amazing things in Stockton. First, with the $54 million from the governor's budget, and then the $5.8 million from the CSU for the master planning and acacia renovations, and then the $6 million for the Magnolia Mansion renewal. Next slide, please. As soon as we got the news, we started convening an executive committee that selected a site for this new acacia replacement building, phase 1, and the collaborative design build process was commenced. We are in the tail ends of that process and hope to have a design build team selected by the middle of April, with designing starting in May. And we are targeting a completion date of June of 2025 with fall instruction starting that same year. The building will include classrooms, selective student services, and faculty staff offices. Next slide, please. This slide demonstrates the various options and the site selection within the overall university park setting. The principal Stan State entrance, outdoor plaza, and a monument sign at Acacia Street all create a distinct Stan State presence for the community's perspective, from the community's perspective as they drive down California Street, not to mention an awesome warrior welcome to our students. In addition, we see the closing of American Street that will provide a safe student pedestrian travel between the buildings on campus. Next slide, please. Here you can see a close-up Google Earth perspective of the building site, the monument site, and the outdoor plaza and campus entrance. I can tell you that all the architect and contractor teams we've met with are super excited about providing that welcome, that warrior welcome from the street as people drive by, announcing to students, we are here. We are here for you, and we're here for prospective students that may not otherwise know that we existed here. Much like myself when I was in high school, not certain that I would continue with my education, but a couple of small nudges and got me going. On the master planning process, we have also started some movement there. We have sent out requests for qualifications to various teams, and we are reviewing their proposals. We expect to have a kickoff this semester before the semester closes. This process will include academic programming, physical master planning, and extensive campus and community engagement. So we will be reaching out to all of you, as Alan said, to be participating in these conversations. Everybody who has spoken today, students in the Stockton community, Turlock, as well as faculty and staff, and the general community. All of these efforts we hope will result in, we know will result in a definitive long-term plan for Stan State and Stockton. Next slide, please. For acacia renovations, we are in the early planning phase with plans to invest funds wisely with a focused attention on long-term space utilization and deferred maintenance, safety, and ADA accommodations. Next slide, please. We are super excited to renovate the Magnolia Mansion, a magnificent building on this site that is a beacon to the community. And we're just as excited to know that a wonderful program like the Community Equity Research Center will be living in the ground floor. It's very fitting for that building that it will serve as that kind of a beacon to the community as well. The project will begin with the use of a previously commissioned abatement study to commence the bidding and contracting process this spring. As I said, my team is energized and excited about all of these projects that we will be helping in Stockton with, and just looking forward to knowing that we will have a huge impact to the students to come in these wonderful facilities. We plan to ensure that they are all infused with warrior pride and are welcoming for all the students that come here and the community. Thank you for your time. And at this time, I would like to introduce my colleague, Jeff Cirillo, our Deputy Chief Information Officer.
Hey there. I get to talk to you about the information technology side of the house right now. Some of the key topics I want to bring up is about the security. That's probably the most important thing. It's a basic. I mean, we're responsible for protecting everybody's data, both from a physical perspective and a virtual perspective. We've been improving the infrastructure overall. As far as things go, what we need to do is have a good solid base infrastructure and core technologies, and we need to do it into a building, an area here which was built more with the design of isolating people in the beginning, and now we're trying to make it into a collaborative environment using all the technology to do so. And then, as you know, Julie was talking about with the new buildings, the future, and integrating the technologies together, making sure that throughout this, we don't give the students a chance to say that the technology ate their homework. So next slide, please. So from a physical security perspective, we did a lot of work this last year on, access control. In my world, what that means is, you get little card key locks. We'll know who's coming in the buildings, not necessarily when they leave, but there is not the need for a brass key, because if you have those keys, they're locked, they're lost, and you have to get everything replaced. So a little bit more control over that. We did some more security as far as video surveillance. I don't want to say the word surveillance, but more so just to make sure that if something does go wrong, things can be reviewed to find out just what happened there. And we put in over 24 cameras onto the site just to kind of make sure from a security purpose that we can review and keep things going. Also, we've been very prominent in keeping all of the blue lights going, and the blue lights are the emergency phones. So in case anything happens, even though we don't want someone necessarily to stand by while the bad actors are there after them, but just report it, say it, and then move on, get to somewhere safe. Make sure that it is reported that there is something going on. Next slide, please. And it's all related to, all these things are based upon an infrastructure. And you try to do an infrastructure on this campus has been, challenging. We've got 3-foot walls. We have the Wi-Fi signals don't go through and permeate around. I mean, there's a constant struggle to make this a welcoming, accessible campus from a technology perspective. One of the things that we've done, though, is from the first thing I was speaking about was the security that happens. What we do is our first stop in security, it's the firewalls. I don't know if you've ever known, you probably hear about people saying we've got to have good firewalls. We probably get, at least since I've been here, I've had over 500,000 attacks that we've had to defend against. There's probably people or bad actors trying to, come into this right now, but we need to have everything laid out ahead of time. So when they're coming in, they're just denied. And it has been difficult because we are a campus which is open. People can bring in any device, any type of technology. I have to worry about a student, for example, in our dormitories wanting to connect their Roomba to having to protect all the student information that occurs. It is an interesting challenge. In order to do that, we stay current. So we went through, we updated all of the what we call the access layer. So like, you get on your phone, there's a way for everything to be accessed. So we keep that portion of the technology 100% current, up to date. So you get the fastest response, and we're able to keep everything protected. Behind the scenes, then you have the layer 3, which is our networking core. So what you have is like people can access it, but then they also need to get out to the internet, right? Everybody wants to go out and surf the net or get YouTube videos or join Zoom meetings, whatever they want to do. That all goes through the core. There's definitely a core of networking that needs to be very, very secure. Inside this area alone, right, we've got access points, and even inside this courtyard, there are cameras. A year ago, this event couldn't have happened. We've been doing a lot of improvements up here in the Stockton campus, so as things can occur, it is more flexible. We can plug in. I've got this whole crew back there, and they do things which are amazing, but they also do all the technology up here at the Stockton campus. What we really improved is all of the Wi-Fi here on campus. Next slide, please. And you'll see, like, because of all of the thick walls, the separation, we've had to put in a lot of access points. No matter where you are in any of the rooms, you can use your wireless device, whatever it is, a computer, a cell phone, a Roomba, a light bulb. Even I have wireless connected light bulbs people are bringing in. You should have access, and if there are issues, please report them, because I want to improve them. But we've made it so as students can study anywhere, they have access. And my goal is to make sure it's always working, so I don't get called. Next slide. On the other side, the same team that's been helping do all this infrastructure improvements here, they've also been doing classroom upgrades. It doesn't really matter which type of technology happens, but we've upgraded a couple classrooms. So as they've got cameras, microphones, or Zoom capable, we want to support the distance learning, the online learning, using the latest technology. We had to get through it all during the pandemic. We've got these premium rooms that, they're 4K, highly flexible. Just want to make sure that the students have an environment from a technology perspective to allow the faculty, students, and whoever's using the rooms, the spaces, to just have a good technology experience while they're actually focused on the learning, which isn't what this is, what I'm going to do. Next slide. There's a picture in there, and you can see, the different circles of the cameras and the document cameras. They can put things like, for example, if you're teaching geology, you don't want to put a piece of granite. You can get the granite right there versus which is something you couldn't do without a document camera. And it's built in. The faculty just has to come in, see what they got, tailor the class, work with the topic, their subject matter, and make it more enjoyable. Next slide. And then, we've done this. We've improved, I believe, the infrastructure here. We've improved the wireless access. But the thing is we're not done yet. There's a lot to do. We still have more classrooms to upgrade. That's a work in progress. I was just talking to Mike in the back, and we're in there. I know, nice. Thanks for waving, Mike. We're getting that taken care of. We want to completely saturate our Wi-Fi. We're using a new technology. We're probably we are the first education institution in the world using the Citizen Broadband networking service, which is basically a private 4G cellular network. You want to switch the slide for me to that? So what we do here is trying to create a seamless environment. So students are walking from building to building. For example, I'm running from the Acacia 1 to, I don't know the name of the next, but the new Acacia building, and I have to turn in my homework. They're still going to be able to be connected, running through there, and they're going to be able to walk in that classroom and go, yeah, I turned it in, I'm cool. So it's going to really improve the accessibility, ability to connect into the mansion, the Rose Garden. And if I was to do Ron Popeil right now, in case you know who he is, we're adding another antenna on the roof to even have more saturation across. It's a technology which I would call it a foundational technology, since we're in here in the beginning. So what it gives us is it's something that we can build upon for whatever is needed in the future. So just a flexibility without having to do a lot of trenching and digging and expensive building, things. So we're working forward on that. Back to the other one. And of course, we want to, finish our computers refresh, right? Always do that. And the other part that we need to do is to upgrade the internet connectivity. As more students come to campus, we need to have a larger pipeline to the internet, because what are they doing? They're watching, video, they're doing more streaming of Zoom, there's a whole lot more dependency on it. And okay, so we have 4K now. So what's next? 8K, 12K, 16K. What that means, the amount of data that's funneling through, it's larger. So as we're trying to keep up as far as things go, and even be prepared before it even happens, because we know what's happening. And with that, I'd like to welcome back my friend, probably the heart and soul of Stockton, Dr. Famous Harrison. Thank you.
As I started during the introduction, I read to you guys one of my favorite quotes. This work is challenging but worth it. Delivering on this mission has the potential to impact communities across generations. That's what gives me strength and energy. I know that faculty, staff, students, alumni, members of the community also recognize the importance of the community and generations. I want to welcome back our president who lives this quote. I've communicated with her day and night, 7 days a week, every day, as it relates to our commitment and the impact we want to make in Stockton and San Joaquin County. We are one university, we have 2 campuses, but we really believe in community. One of the things you've heard today, some of the themes were access, education, students, success, supporting workforce development, upward mobility, so supporting multiple different socioeconomic backgrounds. Our commitment to serving this region is unwavering, and that starts with our leadership and President, Dr. Ellen Judd.
Thank you, Dean Harrison. Now, of course, we could not finish our open forum today without hearing testimonials from our students, our own students. And so I wanted to share with you what you've heard up until now is all about the infrastructure. It really does take a village. Almost everyone from our campus leadership is involved in trying to make sure that the experience for students at Stockton is a good one, an excellent one. So what I want to do is I'm delighted to introduce to you in the order that they will speak, Jessie Covarrubias, who's an undergraduate majoring in social sciences, alumna Alondra Hernandez, who earned her degree in psychology, and alumnus Paul Gardley, a doctoral student here in education and advisor for the Stockton Campus College of Business. So please listen to their words of their own personal experiences as Stockton students. So come on up, Jessie.
My name is Jessie Covarrubias, and I've been asked to come and speak about my experience here as a student, and specifically here at the Stockton campus. This is my first semester here at the Stockton campus as part of the 16th cohort of the BAS program. And so far, I've really enjoyed my experience. From the technology in the classroom, which is far beyond what I'm used to back from the last time I was in the classroom 2 years ago, to the sense of community that I've had here with my fellow students as we come and go through this journey together. As far as Stan State for me has been very much part of my family. I am, upon my completion in hopefully next year in May, I will be the 5th member of my family to graduate from Stan State. Two of my sisters have received their master's from Stan State, and one's already is on her way. So Stan State has been a big part of our family, and I feel mainly due to the fact that it's in our backyard. It's really convenient for us to be at home, work with our parents, be able to work full time, and just build upon our lives as far as completing our education and continuing. As far as I've been asked a few times from a few different people what I plan to do was after I graduate, and sitting here and listening to this open forum, it's kind of eye-opening. It's kind of what I want to do is advocate for students, help them find their way. It's taken me 20 years since I graduated high school, and I finally feel that I've been given a roadmap to get my degree, something that I've always had the desire to. Life gets in the way sometimes, and I've gone back and forth, and here I am today. And so I'm very glad that this campus is an extension, and like I said, it's part of my family, and I can probably say that my experience through Stan State came through the Stockton campus. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Good morning. My name is Alondra Hernandez, and I am a Stanislaus alum, class of 2020, and I am currently working under AmeriCorps with the College Possible program as a success coach, sorry. And I first transferred to Stan here at the Stockton campus fall of 2018. And I can honestly say I had absolute no desire to get involved. And then I got my first student job here. Actually, one of my first student jobs here was working at the front desk with Zana and Jen. Big shout out to them, by the way, because they have made my experience working here memorable, and it actually inspired me to stay and continue being part of the Stockton campus family. And now as a professional, from a student to a professional here, it is really exciting to see all of the changes that the Stockton campus is undergoing. And now being here today, I've been invited and very grateful for the opportunity to speak on my experience here. It's come a long way just from the couple years that I've been here as a student and now working here. I actually got the opportunity to start a club, one of the first clubs here, and got to meet wonderful people along the way. And it's just been like a really long journey, wonderful journey. And I'm just grateful to be here today. Thank you to everyone. And I'm very excited to continue being a part of the Stockton campus family, not only as a professional now, but I'm also an aspiring master student for the counseling education program here. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak. I will now introduce Paul Cardley. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you all for attending this auspicious occasion. My name is Paul Gardley Jr., and I am a warrior. Through the EOP admission process, I became a CSU Stanislaus Warrior during Dr. Marveline Hughes' tenure. But I wasn't aware at the time of what that meant. So some of the characteristics of a warrior is as follows: taking a stand with the willingness to sacrifice and suffer for the innocent, to have a tenacious work ethic, to defend, protect, and advocate for the betterment of humankind, overcoming one's own fear, learn to follow effectively, and to be a transformative leader. During my tenure at Stanislaus, it prepared me for life. It prepared me professionally, academically, as well as personally. My resilience propelled me to graduate with a bachelor's degree in communication studies. That era of my life provided experiences that caused me to one day become a doctor. I am a resilient warrior. I became the first member of my family on either side to graduate from a university. That was a milestone, obviously, that made my family proud. I then went on to acquire a master's degree in education. I wanted to revolutionize the education gap and enhance student success. So I returned home and became an academic advisor in the College of Business Administration here on the Stockton campus. I am a revolutionary warrior. We are in a Renaissance era because in February of 2001, I was accepted as a doctoral student in the educational leadership here at Stan State. The purpose for me pursuing my EDD was not for me, was not for me. It was for my gorgeous and supportive wife, Tamika, and our 7 offspring, yes, 7, my family, friends, and loved ones. It was for all the students that I see and I advise and I encourage to pursue education far more beyond the bachelor's or bachelor's of arts or bachelor's of science. They too can become doctors. This is my way of investing in our future because I understand that representation matters. CSU Stanislaus unlocked the door, my door of potential. It unleashed my potential and helped me to obtain success. CSU Stanislaus made my dreams become a reality. I am a Renaissance warrior. One warrior can be a force, but a legion of warriors in unison can be triumphant. So allow me to challenge you. Be a resilient warrior. Be a revolutionary warrior. Be a Renaissance warrior. Thank you.
Wasn't this amazing to be able to hear these inspiring stories of our incredible students here in Stockton? And remember, again, we are one university, two campuses. And that's why we're so excited today to give you a much more detailed background of where we're going and how everyone is pitching in to make these students the gem of San Joaquin County, as well as our, Stanislaus County. So as you've heard this morning, Stanislaus State is poised, ready, and eager to join with all of you as our steadfast partners to work collaboratively for the success of our Stockton students, the city of Stockton, and our region. So thank you for attending this open forum this morning as we work together. So please watch for future emails regarding our official Stockton campus master planning process. And since we're over a little bit of time, I want to there were a few questions that came through on email. Well, we'll be answering your questions personally so that we can end a little bit as planned. So it is with great pride and great spirit that we say, go Warriors, and thank you, and watch for more news from Stockton. Thank you.